we got offered, and Pat's gonna kill me for saying this, but a couple years back, Dashboard and All American Rejects, they were going out.
Welcome to Lightweights Podcast. My name's Joe. Today we have John from the Maine. We're interviewing him in the back of his tour bus.
My 2.5-year-old daughter. The original idea was, how do we do a triple co-headliner?
I'm IRL.
Dude, I'm not 36. I'm like way younger.
What's the Maine's group chat look like?
Kind of chaotic.
Memes?
Not a ton. Some GIFs or GIFs, however you say it. Okay. I'm cool.
Hey, can we open up one of those things? Open up one of those things.
John's second time on the podcast, and I'm very excited to announce that on the very next episode we have May Day Parade. I also have other episodes with Simple Plan, Water Parks, games we play, so many other bands that you might enjoy. So hit the subscribe button, stick around, let me know what other bands you want to see on the podcast, and without further ado, John O'Callaghan.
Let's get right to it. When's the new album dropping?
Tomorrow.
Is it?
No. We it's ever evolving.
Is it?
Normally, like, we're pretty cyclical. Like, we put a record out, tour for 2 years or a year, go back in, start writing, record. And that's kind of how it's ran for the last 9. I think it's probably we could benefit from maybe taking a little bit to just collect our thoughts. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a strange time.
Because you just dropped a new song.
Yeah.
Was that a one-off, or did you guys record a few songs, or how'd that work?
We knew we wanted to have a song out.
For the tour?
For this tour, or just like, it doesn't necessarily mark the end of our most recent album. It's just like a continuation, I guess. I don't know. Like, I want to be cryptic, and I want to, like, but also I think just as a band, just as someone who likes creating music, who likes writing songs, the landscape of just like whatever attention spans and just the industry in general, I think it affords us the opportunity to just kind of get a wild hair, put a song out, and see what happens. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
I feel like it's a step forward musically because we haven't heard the sound, and it's not really tied into the last album.
I think it's a snapshot of just our mentality every time we go into the studio, in that it doesn't really sound like it belongs, but it does because it's us. And I definitely didn't want to play it safe. Like, there's plenty of songs that I have that probably would have fit the mold a little bit better, in terms of like the sound that we made on Self-Titled. But it was just like, what the fuck is the point of doing the same thing? You know, like, to me, that's not exciting. And I think we've been so lucky that people have stuck around and like given us like the go ahead to like get weird and get creative and like push whatever it is that we think and they think the Maine is. And I think that's just like the headspace that I'm always in. It's like, I love nothing more than writing and recording, and I think it would be a shame if I just like did the same thing. I just wouldn't find satisfaction out of it. It just wouldn't be fulfilling. So I had actually, I mean, I don't know if this will actually do anything, but I'll play you the demo.
Please.
Let's see. So this was the original idea, and I've been doing kind of like this imposter syndrome thing where like I try to forget myself in writing songs and like my perception of who I think I am in terms of the Maine and who I think somebody else thinks I am, if that makes any sense. Like, I try to take myself out of it, or I've been trying to the last year or so, in hopes of like finding new territory, like exploring new places to go creatively.
Is that what you do for every album?
Definitely. Like, I've been more intentional on the last, at least this most recent one, where it's just like, when you've done it for so long, I think you can really get easily sucked into the idea of like, this is what I think they want to hear. And like, that's just not fun. Like, that's not fun for us. And it works for other people. Like, some bands make the same record every time and it's like, it works. But I just don't want it to ever smell desperate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to ever feel like we're trying to tap into nostalgia or like, I don't know. It's probably like part of the downfall. I don't know. But anyways, this is the demo. So like new wave kind of goth. I was singing like a vampire. I like pitched my voice down, and there was just something about it that I like. It just resonated with me, and when I brought it to the guys, it was like, what I like about it, it was a divisive kind of thing, and I think that that's really important, because I think being uncomfortable is the only way to find progress and to evolve. So I liked the idea that like Garrett was super into it, Jared was lukewarm, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fun to me, and that was like the challenge in the studio of like, all right, we don't want it to make it sound like Jason Segel from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, like the vampire, like die, but like, how do we make it sound like us? And that's like, I don't know, that's the great thing about still being in a band. It's not like a democracy, it's just, or it is a democracy, it's not a dictatorship. So
how does it work for a band who's already put out 9 albums at this point? Are you bringing different songs that you worked on, and then collectively you guys think, this is the one, let's build this out?
Like this one, I definitely exercise maybe more of my leadership role in that, like, because I'm the only one that brings songs to the table. And I have a really thick skin now when it comes to like, oh, we aren't really vibing on this song. It's like, no big deal. Like, I just love writing songs. So there's an eclectic amount of just like, something sounds like whatever, a vampire in a dungeon, and something sounds like, I don't know, Donna Summer, like something super poppy or whatever. But on this one, it was like, I wanted to exercise a bit more conviction when it came to how I felt about it, because I've noticed that like, and Garrett and I were talking about this the other night, is like, when I'm really excited about something, that energy is like translated or like transferred to the other guys. And he was like, yeah, and then when we're in the studio and we can tell that you're not into something, that also permeates, and that creates that like tepid kind of like, let's not do that. So I wanted to really like, once we decided like this is the song, I wanted to really try my hardest to like give myself fully to the track. And then, you know, it like starts like that, and then inevitably it gets somewhere back to the center of like who we are as a band. And so like it can be very scary to like explore those new places, but once you kind of come together as a band and like sort it out together, that always the pendulum swings a bit more back to that like comfortable medium zone where it's like, we feel good about this, we could put our name on it, kind of thing. So
is there still that nervousness as you release this to the fandom?
there's always there's always that anxious feeling, but like we've done it so many times now, like I'd be lying to say that I'm never worried about a reaction, but also I'm so focused on the idea of like it only needs to mean something and resonate with the 5 of us. As long as you're happy with it, that is paramount. Like that is the only thing that matters, because you don't get to decide how somebody else is going to feel about your material. Like if you're lucky enough that people are listening, that's it. Like that's all that matters, you know? So like the dialogue after the fact, like the way that people vibe is up to them. You don't get to pick your audience. You don't get to pick, you know, you're just lucky if people give a hoot. And like, fortunately we're in a position where people still care.
Was there a conversation as far as how it would be performed live, that it could be incorporated into the set?
For sure. Yeah. We, on this most recent record, we spent a lot of time, I think we talked about it last time we talked, but spent a lot of time thinking about how things would translate live. Like, we were just very intentional on thinking like tempos and dynamics and like, you know, from my perspective, like important lyrics. And it was just like, how is this going to feel in context of a live setting? And this song specifically, it's got that built-in, I mean, this is like tempo is like 154. So for all you tempo nerds, like pretty quick. But we just felt like it had that built-in kind of like armor that kind of would make people move and dance. And I think that one funny test now is my 2.5-year-old daughter. Like if the approval comes from her, then I'm like, all right, cool.
Did she give the approval?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
If I get dance moves from her, which is like this little gallop shuffle that she does, that I know that like something is there. That's like so maybe it's the 5 of us and then my daughter.
That one little, the move.
Yeah.
Is she coming out to see you at Sad Summer?
She will be in New York. Yeah. So my wife and her my folks are going to watch our baby. And so it'll be like a mother-daughter trip to New York, which is really exciting. Is
it crazy that this is the 5th anniversary of Sad Summer that you guys started?
Very wild.
Did you originally set out to do this?
No. Yeah. The original idea was, how do we do a triple co-headliner with, you know, us, 2 other bands our same size or even a little bit bigger, to get in front of ears that haven't heard us before. And, you know, we succeeded by getting Mayday and state champs on the first one. And that was like, all right, cool. We did it. And like, you know, it's been a lot of growing pains. It's been like a lot of just like learning and making mistakes so that the next year can get better. But yeah, as far as we were concerned, like we got so lucky getting those guys on board that we were like, all right, cool. We did it. And then it was like, hey, should there be another one? Like, I think what's really cool for us is like, we're still hands-on, but we're so hands-off now. Like that first summer, even the first couple times that we did it, we were out there like setting up props, setting up like, you know, helping move porta potties and like stuff like that. And now there are people that do this often and do it well that like coordinate all that stuff. So
would you ever consider bringing more bands on to even do a bigger lineup, almost in the sense of, because I feel like this is kind of the Warped Tour now of today's world?
I mean, a lot of that stuff is above my pay grade, because now, like I said, we don't have a say on the lineup at this point. Like, they offered us to come out for this summer, and those are just internal conversations that we have as a band. Like, does it line up with our touring? Does it make sense? And then it's like, who else is on it? And a lot of the time, especially on this one, we didn't really know. So it was like, I think I would imagine like down the road, if it continues and people keep showing up, I don't rule out the idea of like another stage and you know what I mean? But I don't know. Good luck with those decisions.
I know we're only on the second day, but what would a normal day be for you on the Sad Summer Tour?
Like now I'm so programmed to wake up early because at home I'm up by 6 and, up with the kids. So this, it's like I'll set my alarm to FaceTime with my daughter before she goes off to daycare during the week. So that's at like 8 o'clock. Then I try to go back to bed, but I can't. So get up, eat breakfast, try to do some sort of physical activity.
Is breakfast on the bus?
Yeah, I just got like yogurt and granola. And then honestly, like the last, I don't know, year and a half, I've been bringing out like my own recording rig and just, I try to do at least something every day creatively. I found in the past it was really difficult to write on the road because there's always something to be done. There's friends out. There's always something happening that I think I've found that I tried to be more disciplined over the last like year and a half, 2 years of just trying to write something, even if it's awful. Just like getting something out is really important to me. So the majority of the day will be spent, like especially in the early afternoon, will be spent like messing around with ideas and just trying to write. And then, yeah, like today we have a lot of friends coming out. So it'll be, once they show up, then it's like, all right, yeah, now I can't, I don't want to be the guy like sitting,
Gotta
working.
Focus, guys.
Yeah.
Are you focusing mostly writing for the Maine, or are you working with other artists?
I've been doing a lot of both, trying to branch out, and again, like in line with that sort of like I'm saying, the imposter syndrome or whatever. I've been trying to like really create. I think what's great about songwriting to me is like the experience of seeing how somebody else's process is and seeing how they start and they finish. I recently wrote with my buddy Kevin, and he comes from the world of like write 4 chords and then don't produce anything and write a song around those chords. And I haven't done that in so long, which was awesome. And then there's something completely opposite of that, where a band that's going to be on Sad Summer called Diva Bleach, we like went deep into a track and like wrote, produced the whole track, and in a day we had a full song done. So it's just like just meeting different people and trying. I just want to do more of that because it's fun to me and it's really intriguing, like the idea of seeing somebody else start from zero to finished product, and the inner workings of their brain and how they approach things is really important. And I think especially as far as growth goes, like it'll help me in the long run for sure.
Were you always in the writing room, even from the first album, the first EP?
Yeah. Definitely less confident because this was the first band I'd ever been in, and this was my first ever attempt at writing songs. So definitely early on were like garage band demos that I would have, but it was definitely more like those first couple records were us standing up and playing together, which it's just a different thing altogether. Like you can't replicate the ideas that come to the table when you're standing up playing in a room. Now the capabilities with the computer and technology is like I can produce something on this bus that sounds arguably just as good as any record that we've done. I mean, I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying the tools that you have now are unbelievable when it comes to sound. But now it's like and now that is the case, it makes me want to go back to the other thing and be like, let's like stand up in a room and like mic amps and fuck around and see what comes out.
I know on previous albums you guys rented houses and getaways for months.
Yeah.
Is that still on the table, or does family life come into play now?
Well, I think because we got really lucky in finding that studio that you saw, I think we'd be kind of foolish to not try to exploit that and like
already have that.
And figure out that room and figure out what sounds good, how weird can we get, but definitely like the idea of going someplace, it still is definitely always tossed around, because when you're fully submerged and you're fully like giving into only a song or an album, there's something that you can't replicate that when it's like, all right, I got to go home by 5 and go, and fortunately like our families are really supportive of that. So
can you hear that listening back to those albums? Like, because American Candy was Northern California, right?
American Candy was in Joshua Tree. And then Lovely Little Lonely was in Gualala, California. Yeah, like on the coast up north.
Can you hear?
1,000,000%. Like I can. I'm not sure if people can, but like when I listen to those records, and I never do, but if we're going back and rehearsing or whatever, and like I'm listening to those songs, it throws me right back into that house, into those long nights, into the early mornings, like that. Yeah, there's something really special about that can't be, it can only be replicated if that is the case, like if you go back and you give yourself fully to that thing. So
let's say the 20-year anniversary, Can't Stop Won't Stop, you have to go back and listen to those songs because you're doing a tour.
Yeah.
What memories come to mind of you recording that album?
I mean, because that was the first time we'd ever done like a like big time record,
Hollywood,
where
baby.
yeah, where you're in California, you're in like a legit studio. Like our experience of studios before that was like a house of a buddy.
It's always a buddy.
Then there was a place called Love Juice that we started. Like our first demos we recorded in there. But yeah, I remember like we lived at the Oakwood apartments in Burbank that are now, it's called something else, but they're like pre-furnished. And like for us, it was the same thing as being on a tour bus for the first time. It was amazing because music brought you there, and like you never believed or thought that was a possibility, and then it's there and you're like, we don't have any parents and we can go to Costco and get a stranger to buy us booze, and like we could drink and we can goof off, or it was just an amazing experience. A lot of those early memories are very vivid because they were the firsts, but every record I remember very vividly. When it comes to like, oh, do you remember playing this venue and like that kind of stuff? Early stuff is a bit blurry, other than being in a van and like remembering those kind of days where it was just like grinding and driving.
We're coming up on 10 albums.
It's crazy.
Does that put any pressure on you as a writer, the fact that it's the number 10?
I think the only like pressure is the fact that it's like it's the 10th record and we're sneaking up on 20 years. So from me, from a creative standpoint, I don't want to do something safe. And it's really tough because it's like, I just listened to the new Not a Surf song, and I was a huge Not a Surf fan, still am. And the most recent song they put out, it sounds like a record that from them called The Weight is a Gift, which it sounds like that to me. And when I heard it, it was like a rush of of who I was, where I was, who I was with. Just like it took me back completely, and that's the troubling part, is like I felt that, and then I'm like, well, do I want to give somebody that listens to us? But I wouldn't know where to fucking start because I don't know what we sound like, and we've just tried so many things that I'm like, that I guess maybe I am nervous, maybe I am worried, because it's like I don't know what the Maine sounds like because we've done so many different things. But then again, I'm reassured by people's response to this song that like, as long as it's genuine and it comes from a place of authenticity, then hopefully that's enough. And that just like by way of the 5 of us recording it and me singing it, it just feels natural. So we'll see.
Did the new Blink album bring you back to any days?
To be fair, I do not want to be a poser. I did not listen to it. I haven't listened to it.
The new album you haven't?
I have not.
How come?
Should I?
Yeah. What are you waiting on?
Okay. I don't know.
It was so good.
I mean, they were like the first big concert that I ever went to, the first arena show that I ever went to.
I thought you were really into them.
I like Blink-182. Yeah.
Was it the Flaming Fuck?
Yes, that tour.
Yes.
It was them, Green Day, and Jimmy Eat World.
Yep.
And it was like, that experience was fucking unbelievable. And of course, I mean, everybody was into Blink-182 when I was, middle school, high school. It was like, yeah, I don't know. That's one that I need to listen to for sure.
What's your contribution now to the band versus what was it when you first started?
I think I spent a long time maybe not fully understanding or fully embracing the idea that like it's okay to be more to take more of a lead when it comes to songwriting and those ideas. I think I've started to embrace it more, like I've been saying, like especially in the last couple records. It definitely has like there are trying parts of it where it's like, I wish everybody wrote songs, and then I'll think like, well, do I wish everybody wrote songs? Because then it would get, but I don't know. I think like every one of us has embraced their own roles and like, for better or worse, fallen into those roles. And I think now it's just like a matter of communication, like really communicating how you're feeling about material, how you're feeling about a merch design, or how and I think the more clearly those lines are open as far as communication, the better, because just like any relationship, like that's the only way it continues to work. And that's the way you continue to nurture it, is by talking. And I think I've tried to like wear more of the captain's hat when it comes to the songwriting. And then there's shit that I don't care about at all, that like Pat fully takes on, where it's like, like I'm saying, I think it's a great like balance of like everybody pulling their weight.
What's the Maine's group chat look like?
I mean, kind of chaotic, like
Memes?
Not a ton, no. Some GIFs or GIFs, however you say it. Okay, yeah. I'm cool.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a lot of like business stuff, like
merch designs.
Or yeah, we got an offer for this show, or what are we thinking about this? Or
are you guys making those decisions?
As far as
the offers for the shows, or is that mostly through management?
We have like a booking agent that will like send an offer. You got this show offer,
Lollapalooza,
whatever it is. Are you guys into it? Yes, no. And then that's when it gets democratic, where it's like everybody can
chime in.
Aye, nay, whatever.
Is it crazy to you that you're getting the biggest festivals that you've been asked to be part of 18 years into this band?
It's awesome. I think that's a very empowering thing, I think if if things kind of felt stagnant and we weren't getting looks like that, and like, you know, the opportunities that we've had over the last couple of years, I think it would be a lot harder to like come to terms with like leaving your family for, you know, weeks or, you know, weekends or whatever. So I think like that makes us want to work harder. You know, it makes me more hungry for the idea of, like you're saying, like Lollapalooza. I've never been invited to that. Like, well, we just got Bonnaroo. Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? So it's like these things happening this deep into it, maybe like from an industry standpoint, like shouldn't, you know, like shouldn't be the case. But the fact that it is makes us like really, really excited and really hungry.
Is that something that still gets you guys excited? Opportunities like this at this point in your career?
1,000%. Like when we got the Bonnaroo offer, it was like just giddy kids. I
picture Pat losing his mind.
Oh yeah. Like we got offered, and Pat's gonna kill me for saying this, but a couple years back, Dashboard and All American Rejects, they were going out, and we got offered the 2 of 4 slot, and I'm not kidding. Pat cried. He cried when we got that tour. So, I mean, that one tells you how much he is in, and if you know Pat, like Pat is. He's in 5x whatever we are. But yeah, like the Fall Out Boy tour that we just did, that was another one where it was like, where we are so lucky again, like Pat's wife and my wife had kids just around the same time. And the tour was in March, and my son was born at the end of December. And we got the offer, you know, while they were both 5 months pregnant or so. And both of them were like, fuck yeah, like do that. Why wouldn't you? You know? So like having that support is unreal, because it shows that you have people in your corner that believe in what you're doing, believe in this dream that's lasted 17 years. And those kind of things happening, again, fuel the idea that like more is possible and more can happen. And when you have people that echo that sentiment and like, you know, are as in as you are, that's just like, you know, that again, that you want to show up for those people. You want to like do well. So yeah, we're just very, very fortunate.
How easy or hard is it for you to come up with the set list for opening up for Fall Out Boy?
I mean, 30 minutes, like at this point.
8 songs?
8 songs.
How do you pick which ones from which albums to please the people coming out to try and win over the new people?
I mean, it's an impossible task. Like, well, obviously we did it, so it's not impossible, but it's an impossible task to appease everyone all the time, right? So you have people that would have shown up that have been with us since day one, right? Who also feel, what's so amazing is like, I got so many comments that were like, I'm so proud of you guys, and I've been here since day one, and I can tell that they feel just as much a part of it as we do.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Because I feel part of it too, and I know I'm not in the band.
I have no idea, but like, again, that goes in line with what I'm saying about like having that foundation. Like having that is like, it's so motivating, and it feels so good to see when people are like rooting for you. And the hard part, maybe the letdown, is like, you know, what do you ask? What would somebody that's been with us for 17 years want to actually hear? And when you actually try to think like, all right, you can only pick 8 songs out of the 100 that we have out from albums. That would be a difficult thing. And that's like, Pat calls them setlist divas, because always on a tour, we'll break our backs like trying to figure out a set list and then feel good about it. And then you just get people that are like, you know, in good fun, but like,
what about Ice Cave?
You guys are fucking doing me dirty. Like, where's Ice Cave? Where's, you know, where's count 'em 1, 2, 3, or, you know, whatever it is. It's like, so to answer the question, it's impossible to appease everyone, but you have to go into something like that thinking that nobody knows who you are, right? Like, you have to go into that setting feeling like you're going to have to win over every last person in the audience. And the one way that we can kind of approach making a set list for that is like take the last 17 years of what we've done live and try to do the best bits that have worked throughout those 17 years and do them all in 30 minutes.
Bits, and what do you mean?
Like the songs, I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Like songs that have
Performed
been,
the best live.
yeah, or just like tried and true, or just like evoke an emotion that would hopefully, you know, perk somebody's ears up that hasn't ever heard of us.
I love when you go out in the crowd.
Yeah, it's like shit like that. And, you know, it's like, it's just trying, it's part of the like 17 years in getting this new experience. You know, it's a good challenge for me as a frontman, like trying to figure out like nobody cares, right? So now make them care. And how do you do that? And how do you make people feel like they want to be on the team and they want to be the ones rooting for you? You know, I saw you open for Fall Out Boy. That was my first time. Now you're whatever, you know, you're playing Bonnaroo and I saw you, whatever it is. It's like, I want to bring more people on board. So how do I do that? And that was like a great challenge for that tour.
Do you think you did a good job at that?
I have no idea. I felt confident. You know, I felt like the one thing I like to try to implement in every set is that no matter if the set list is the same, I want to feel like the experience was different for every place that we play, right? Like, there's a cloud in the sky that looks like the McDonald's M or whatever it is. Like, I want to be able to be here, right? Like, this parking lot looks like the parking lot in Sacramento, but we're not in Sacramento, and these people aren't, you know, these people are here. They weren't there. So even if the set list doesn't vary, I want to make it a special thing for that place, that moment in time, every night. So from that perspective, I think I tried my hardest to do that. And then again, just like music, it's like releasing a song or putting on a performance, doing a show. As long as you leave it all out there, it's like, there's no way to quantify it now. You know, like, I don't know. All I know is that it was fucking awesome for us, and to be on a stage where, you know, Jimmy Eat World and Fall Out Boy, like, that's, I mean, I remember buying their records, you know, when I was 14 years old. So it's like, that's just once in a lifetime.
As a frontman, do you look for feedback from other people?
No, I mean, I can feel like, as kids would say, like, I can feel when I'm in my bag. And then I can feel when it was fucked up, like when I was in my head. And that's the worst place to be for me, is being up here and not letting things come naturally and flow throughout me.
What is that? Is that technical difficulties?
Yeah,
that
first
eat at
show
you?
on 2 days ago, my ears my pack died. So I had no in-ears. I couldn't hear anything. And hopefully it didn't feel like that for somebody in the crowd, but it was like, it's just so much internal dialogue then that I have to deal with, that I'm also trying to balance that with like, all right, suppress it. Also, do you remember the set list? You know, like for this show, do you remember this part? So it's definitely, it's definitely a challenging thing. I mean, good days and bad days. Like, you can't expect to be great all the time. And when it is great, it's great and it's a great feeling. When it's bad, we have people that tell us it was bad, and that's a good thing. Like, you don't want to just have people that are fluffing the pillow all the time. You know, it's like, it's important. Again, those people that actually care about what we're doing, it's important to have people be real.
Do you think that's something that's come from you, where you've always just wanted to be the best that you can be, so that door is always open and people are comfortable to come and tell you how it was? Because I feel like there's a lot of egos that get involved, especially in this.
Yeah.
But I feel like you guys have never had egos, which is why it's always been, oh, I want to root for them because they're so nice.
Well,
they're
hopefully,
so cool.
yeah. I mean, hopefully it's a top-down thing. You know, like, I mean, you've known Tim for a long time. It's like Tim's been one of my best buds since 6th grade. So we come from the same. You know, he wouldn't have been my friend if I didn't even in 6th grade see those values or like be, you know, gravitated towards that energy. So I'd like to think it's, you know, it's obviously our parents down to us, down to how we interact with our crew. And one thing that is nice to hear and nice to see and nice to feel is that the people that we bring out recognize that there is no ego and there is no, we're just all out here sweating it out together and like, let's try to like, you know, go team, because they're also a representation of who we are, you know, so it's nice to see them get compliments from other, you know, stagehands, from other promoters, from other, so because it means that that's the energy, that's the environment that we're trying to cultivate and create. So yeah, it's I don't know. I'm never like, all right, guys, let's go have a meeting. Tell me how bad I suck tonight. But like, it's definitely, yeah, it's nice to be like, I don't know, knock down a peg or two once in a while.
For anyone who wants to come out to Sad Summer, who's listening to this, what can they expect from this set?
In my IMO, a healthy balance of
Come IRL.
Dude, I'm not 36. I'm like way younger. I think a healthy balance of old and new. It's super difficult because you always want to play, at least for me, I always want to play the new stuff, right? Like, but there is just, I know what it's like to be in a crowd to see a band perform stuff that I'm like, oh shit, I wish they would have played this, and this. So it's just always balancing like being a fan in the crowd and being a person on stage and like both sides of the barricade and like trying to put yourself in that headspace. So hopefully it's a good balance of the two. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm stoked to see it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Guys, come see Sad Summer. Come see the Maine. New song out. New album soon.
Get in your bag.
Get in the bag.
What
now.
does that mean?
I don't. You said it before. I didn't get it.
I've heard it like, I don't know.
TikTok.
No, Sports Center. And then I'm like, damn, this person's older than me, and they're saying it. I really am lame. In your bag. It's got to do something like, maybe it's like in your zone, in the zone.
Get in the game. No, that's
I could look it up, but then there's probably something weird and sexual like to it too. It's like, yeah, I don't know.